the Line A train? I cannot believe it. Typical Winnipeg, always stealing the Leafs spotlight. Typical Winnipeg media. Let's go! Why not? The Toronto Maple Leafs! I guess my brand is a yell and scream. I don't script these. Are the Leafs alright? So what you get is from the heart. Welcome to LFR. Victory, puppies, Iggy! Is Adam Brooks better than Connor McDavid? You have to ask the question. That was a good catch. Way to break the slump. Leafs win! 4-2 over the Edmonton Oilers. Would have got this video done sooner, but of course a very large trade happening in the NHL. Maybe we can talk about that later in the video. For now, this is a video about the Leafs 4-2 win over the Edmonton Oilers without Austin Matthews or Joe Thornton in the lineup. It's funny, I was posting line combinations heading into this game, trying to figure out what the Leafs were going to go with, and I got a few chirps like, oh, where's that Leafs depth? Oh, would you still put this lineup up against Montreal's? The Leafs lost 2 of the 3 members of their first line in one night. What do you want? What team in the NHL could survive that? Nobody. And by nobody, I mean the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Colorado Avalanche, and the Toronto Maple Leafs as long as they're playing the Edmonton Oilers. A number of players getting a huge chance heading into this one. This was the lineup that the Leafs tweeted out. Hyman, Tavares, Marner, that makes perfect sense. It was the first line a couple years ago. Nylander, Kerfoot, VC, that makes a lot of sense. Nylander and Kerfoot have chemistry, and VC and Kerfoot did back in college. Mikheyev, Engvall, Simmons, I like that. It's a fast, hard-working third line. And Barabanov, Brooks, Spezza, that is... Welcome to the lineup. We'll try to get you some minutes. I don't mind what I'm seeing out of Bogosian and Dermott, to be honest, but we gotta find a way to get Mikko Lehtinen into this lineup to show what he can do, and then after that, at some point, we have to acknowledge the mere existence of Rasmus Sandin. But this is the lineup for today. This is the lineup the Leafs are going up against the Edmonton Oilers with, trying to avenge their loss from the other night. And as I ranted about on the most recent podcast, it's time for the Leafs' depth to do something, anything. Guys have to step up. Nylander and Marner and Matthews and Tavares, they take the brunt of the criticism, and it's because they make most of the money. It's warranted, okay? With high salary comes high expectations. But, as I've said many times, when I went back and looked through all of the Leafs' 70 regular season games from last season in my 70-7 series, holy cow, without those guys, they are so screwed. Yeah, we've been looking at the Leafs' depth going, oh, wow, they could really use a guy like Johnsson or Kapanen. The depth was still the problem last year as well. Let's also not act like those guys were a part of the depth necessarily, because they both got opportunities with Matthews and Tavares. Every team with any success anywhere is going to have to get big performances out of their big guys, but any team that makes a deep playoff run, they get performances from everybody. Barabanov gets in the lineup. He needs to be big. He's barely had a chance to play. Adam Brooks in the lineup. Oh my God, are his opportunities few and far between. He's got to perform. Pierre Engvall is straight up playing for his NHL career. He needs to come through, and those are just the new members of the lineup. What about a guy like Jimmy Vesey, for example? Alexander Kerfoot. Who needs to be bigger than him? And the answer, as we discovered about 30 seconds in, is Frederik Andersen. Oilers break in, huge stop by Freddie, and it was one of about 3 odd man rushes that the Leafs allowed in the first 5 minutes. Starts were such a problem for them last year. Not the greatest one in this one, but Freddie held the fort. No scoring, no penalties either. In the first period, the Leafs outshoot Edmonton 12-11, but I thought Edmonton had the better chances. Overall, Leafs, without Matthews, pretty fortunate to be heading to the second period with a tie game. But overall, I'm liking what I'm seeing from the Leafs. I'm loving what I'm seeing from Pierre Engvall. This guy's got all the tools like he's shot out of a cannon, so he naturally takes the first penalty of the game. And I feel so bad for him because I know the context of this game. I know he's trying so hard. He's trying to do all the right things, and he's like, as he's heading towards the box. But I know his internal monologue is, whatever swearing in Swedish is! However, whatever Swedish is for a sigh of relief, the Leafs kill it off. And then they get an opportunity on the power play. Justin Holl, amazing start to the season, draws a hook and call on Kyle Turris. And it's very interesting because heading into this game, I was looking at the Leafs' top power play and going, okay, they lose Matthews, but they can add Willie and Tavares, and they still have good personnel. The first power play is still good. The second power play, they shouldn't even bother playing. So what happens? This was brutal. Oilers clear the zone. Morgan Rielly skates back to get the puck with the speed of a gentle summer breeze. Frederik Andersen leaves the net to play the puck, which you gotta do when you're defenseman skating back slowly, but I will say this. People are too hard on Frederik Andersen as a goaltender, but I don't think they could possibly be hard enough on him as a puck handler. Stop it! Riley shanks it. Yamamoto, great effort, gets the puck. He throws it in, and it hits Willie Nylander in the skate. Nylander, like... It's just not good enough. And guys, I was looking at Twitter. For God's sake, you can be a Willie fan. You don't have to defend him at every turn. Good players make mistakes, and Willie did on this one, coughing the puck up right to Leon Draisaitl. Maybe take that name down. He's able to slip it past Freddie, and it's a 1-0 Oilers lead, shorthanded. Well, if that's how bad the first power play is, the Leafs are screwed, right? Well, still on the power play, the Leafs send out the second unit. And it's really not that bad. Simmons still working the net front. Spezza was on the second unit last year. Brody is on the second unit this year. There's Alexander Kerfoot. The only weird one is Adam Brooks. So naturally, he's the one who scored. Now, Brooks shoots it in the slot, and it's stopped. Devin Shore with the clearing attempt, but he can't quite pull it off, in part because of a battle with Brooks. Brody manages to hold the line, keeps the puck in, and Shore is still collecting his equipment after falling down after the battle with Brooks. Spezza fires in a pass. I don't know if he was actually going for Brooks. I think he was trying to send it all the way through to Kerfoot, banks off Brooks' skate, and in for his first career NHL goal. Brooksy, you tell them all it was the highlight of the night. It's interesting, watching the replay a few times, I wondered if the Oilers considered challenging this. It wasn't a distinct kicking motion, but if you watch it in real time, it actually kind of looks like Brooks did it on purpose. More likely, he was probably just trying to stop the puck with his skate so he could get a shot off, but Brooksy, it's your first ever NHL goal. You tell him whatever you want, and the Leafs tie the game up, basically negating the shorthanded goal. Now, Leafs fans watching this, Oilers fans, fans of any team watching this, I have an idea, and I'm sure I'm not the first one to this. I am not about to sit here and be the 9 billionth person to say, in these unprecedented times. When fans are allowed back in the building, once we're allowed to pack Scotiabank Arena with 20,000 people like in normal times, once fans are allowed back, we need to have something where we can share all these moments with the fans in the arena that they should have been able to experience firsthand, but they couldn't because of, this gestures vaguely at the world. I've said it before, there's something about a player scoring their first NHL goal that sends a shockwave through the team, and they can ride that energy for a few games. Like all of you watching this right now, you're huge hockey fans, but I bet you couldn't tell me every goal you've ever seen. But I bet you remember Matthews' first goal. And I bet you remember Marner's first goal. And I bet you could even remember Travis Dermott's first goal, or Justin Holl's first goal, Andreas Janssen back when he was with the Leafs. Aw. There's something special about scoring your first goal, no matter how ugly it is. Ray Ferraro was talking about that on the broadcast. But it's also a special experience for the fans to be in the building for that. Whenever things are back to normal and fans are allowed to be back in the building, there needs to be some sort of montage, not just highlighting what we missed from the season before, but all the milestones that we didn't get to be part of. Brooks' first NHL goal from this game, Robertson's first NHL goal from the bubble, Joe Thornton's first as a Leaf, Spezza hitting 600 assists, all these milestones. I want to see them in a big old montage when we're allowed to be back in the building and have $14 beers. Anyway, back to this game. It's now tied 1-1. First of all, can we talk about something disgusting? NHL.com still has Jimmy Vesey in a Buffalo Sabres uniform, and they need to change that right away. Children might see that. The Leafs' new look second line, buzzing, trying to create some. Ultimately, Edmonton gets the puck and they try to clear it. This all starts with an amazing read from a player who doesn't end up getting an assist on this play, Travis Dermott. Great pinch, jumps on the loose puck, shanks it, smashes himself against the board to create a seal, and even takes a hit from Josh Archibald, but ultimately the puck ends up in the corner. Also in the corner, Alexander Kerfoot, who passes it to William Nylander, who shoots. Kidding, he didn't shoot, but I think someone thought he was about to. Check out Slater Cuckoo. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no, 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 no. I'm an idiot. The still images don't do it justice. You have to go back. I think he was trying to dive for it or lost his footing or something, but he ends up leaving Jimmy Vesey wide open, and Vesey, so unnecessary. Like, he's wide open, defenseman down and out, Mikko Koskinen down and out, wide open net, but he's still like, thanks, Willie. Let me just check the weather app real quick. Oh, wow, it's -7. That's pretty chilly. Vesey loads that thing up like Goku summoning the spirit bomb, finally fires it, and it goes in, wouldn't you know? Leafs up 2-1. And that is how we would go into the second intermission. So, what do we need out of this game without Thornton, without Matthews in the lineup? We need big performances from the Leafs' depth and from other spots. So, Brooks' first NHL goal and the second power play unit getting it done. And then Alexander Kerfoot moving up in the lineup with a secondary assist on this one. William Nylander making up for his mistake with Draisaitl. And of course, Jimmy Vesey has got to produce with this opportunity. And he does. And now we see if the Leafs, who have been pretty decent defensively lately, can hang on, if they can hold the fort. Naturally, the Oilers score less than a minute in. I gotta say though, even though hockey's a game of mistakes, this was hustle from the Oilers. Cassian dumps the puck into the corner, and TJ Brodie's like, all right, I'm gonna go and get it. And Ryan Nugent-Hopkins obliterates him. Nuge collects the puck himself, sends it to Ethan Bear at the point, who blasts it on Connor McDavid with the tip. It's a really good tip from a really good player. He scores 2-2. I don't think I'm going to scold Brodie for getting wrecked here, and I'm not going to scold Riley. It's Connor McDavid. I will say this, though. This is what drives me nuts when we talk about, like, the toughness of this team and finishing checks and everything. That's Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. I mean this with no offense intended, but for a professional athlete, for an NHL player, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is average height, on the lighter side, and he's got a permanent baby face. On the broadcast, they were talking about Kailer Yamamoto, always driving the net. That dude is under 160 pounds. I'm not kidding when I say I weighed more than Yamamoto in the 7th grade. It's a little bit about size. I mean, it certainly helps, but it's mostly what you're willing to do. Waiting for the out-of-context Steve Dangle Twitter account to clip that one in 3, 2, 1. That's going to be unfortunate. Anyway, let's continue. Over halfway through the third period, Devon Shore hooking on Mitch Marner. 2 minutes for you can't do that, and this is only the Leafs' second power play opportunity of the game, and the first unit, after allowing a shorty the last time, is going to want a better showing here. Now, we've talked about Jimmy Vesey and all the new guys and Alexander Kerfoot and who needs to step up. The correct answer is Mitch Marner. As we've already discussed, he makes no off-night money. So you can't have an off night here. And I'm already seeing on Twitter, we're 2.5 periods into this game and people are like, why doesn't he have 5 points? Right here though, right here. What a play. It's kind of a weird, awkward zone entry. Morgan Riley coming in. He doesn't really know what to do. Spin pass. That could have gone super wrong. Hits the boards. William Nylander collects it. And he sends it to Mitch Marner at the point. Leon Draisaitl, the reigning NHL MVP, who isn't even the best player on his own team, but that's for another video. He already has a shorthanded goal in this game. And this is what Mitch Marner is staring down. When I tell you I screamed at the television, well, I screamed at the television. Mitch Marner did no screaming at all. He was cool as a cucumber, despite the fact that he was so close to Draisaitl he could tell what kind of gum he was chewing. The answer, by the way, is Draisaitl was chewing, remember that coffee-flavored gum? Ugh, I know, what a weirdo. Marner really seeing this play in slow motion because I thought Draisaitl was going to try to pick him off, not even looking to intercept the pass to Riley. I thought he had the speed to just pick Marner right off, and then Marner, there's no way he would have been able to catch him, and it's a breakaway. But I guess Marner just saw the momentum of Draisaitl, which way his feet were pointing, and he said, I'm going to hold on to this. And with a 1,000-pound grizzly bearing down on him, Marner just sort of stood there and stared at him. And the millisecond that Draisaitl was past him, he floats on a perfect gift for John Tavares to tip down in the slot. It goes in because of course it does. It's John Tavares in front of the net on the power play, his 4th power play goal of the season, and the Leafs take the 3-2 lead. And for the rest of the game, Freddie Anderson was great. The Leafs were great in front of him. Mitch Marner scores with like 0.5 seconds left. You know what? Take the freebie. I don't care. The Leafs win 4-2. Listen, if you watch these videos and you listen to the podcast, you know I will always find something to complain about. But folks, I am just not as down on this team as a lot of Leafs Nation is, and I think you should get on board too. Now, they got a 4-game road trip in Alberta coming up. We're going to find out what they're made of there. But so far, through 6 games, don't they look better defensively? Ignore the first 2 games. Those are the first 2 games. Those are weird. For the last 4 games, hasn't this team had its stuff together? Their weakness at times has appeared to be offense, but I have faith that'll come. In general, defensively, their team defense, their 6 men back on the blue line have looked much better than last year. All they needed was a few saves behind them, and Frederik Andersen has provided. Their big guys are going to score. I'm not worried about that at all, but if they can get some depth performances too, this is a team, guys. This is a team. And not like we're a team like Pierre Dorian, like a team. Questions. Update on VC feelings? Hey? Why are you asking me like that? Well, VC's got 2 goals as a Leaf so far, and you can tell he probably thinks William Nylander is Santa Claus because of the 2 goals. Putting him with Kerfoot makes some sense. They had some college success together as well. He's on the penalty kill. Like Jimmy VC, for $900,000 is actually a pretty important part of this team. It's good to see him score, and I know he's capable of it. He's just, I think it's that he's not much of a generator. He's a finisher. But if you put him with 2 guys like Kerfoot and Willie who can generate on their own, That's not bad. How impressed have you been with Alex Kerfoot? I'm guilty of lamenting the Kadri trade because I miss Nas, and also Tyson Barrie didn't exactly go according to plan. Alexander Kerfoot is still here. I'll continue to say this, it looks like more of a mistake every day that the Leafs did not fire Mike Babcock after the Leafs lost to Boston in 2019. That was the time to do it, and they didn't do it. And beginning the following season with him behind the bench definitely ruined Barrie's tenure as a Toronto Maple Leaf, and you could argue that the same might be true for Alexander Kerfoot, who also battled injuries because he got messed up by Jeff Carter. Remember that hit? Kerfoot absolutely has the potential to be a half a point a game kind of guy, a creator out there, and my goodness, those happy feet. That guy can move. His speed definitely looks better this season, and if he can be that fast all year long, that creative all year long, make some space for himself, space for his teammates, he's going to be key. I want to end on this one because it made me laugh. If Justin Holl was a high draft pick, would we think he's the best player on the back end? It's funny you should say that because Justin Holl was a high draft pick. Justin Holl was a second round pick. That's a pretty high pick. 54th overall of the Chicago Blackhawks in 2010. In fact, if you watch my trade tree videos from this past summer, you'll know that Justin Holl, the draft pick anyway, was involved in the Dustin Byfuglien trade between Chicago and Atlanta. So the Blackhawks use a second rounder on him, and then he proceeds to play 4 years at the University of Minnesota. And if you're a second round draft pick and you spend 4 years at university, you get forgotten about pretty quickly. His first professional season was 2014-15. He played 68 games, 66 of which were in the ECHL, only 2 in the A. So the Blackhawks just let him go. Kyle Dubas, who was then the GM of the Toronto Marlies, signs Justin Holl to an ECHL AHL contract. I've told the story many times, but I might as well tell it again. I interviewed Sheldon Keefe and Kyle Dubas back when they were both with the Marlies separately, and I asked them who the most underrated forward was and who the most underrated defenseman was. They both had the same answers for both, even though I spoke to them separately. For forward, they said Zach Hyman. I would say they both nailed that one. And they both said Justin Holl for defenseman. Now, when they said Holl, I was like, okay, this is them just tooting their own horn, trying to sound smart, you know. And he ends up signing an NHL deal, and he scores 2 goals in his first 2 games. That's cool, but is it sustainable? And he wins a Calder Cup, which is cool, but is he going to have success at the NHL level? Then he has a pretty good start to last season. Then he signs his extension. And I'm not as sold on him, and I'm not as high on him heading into this season. And flat out, this dude rules. I don't know what else you want out of this guy. 4 points in 6 games, all assists, but I haven't even really noticed just the offense. This guy is big and nasty in front. He's 6'4", 210 pounds, but he's actually playing like it. Maybe it's the flow. That just makes him look gorgeous. He's willing to block any shot. He just looks so dialed. A guy that big, finally playing nasty. A guy that fast, starting to feel more comfortable at the NHL level and feeling creative. This guy has absolutely all the tools. Forget the fact that he's 28 years old. Everyone's got their own journey, and this guy is really coming into his own, and at $2 million per season, Kyle, good job. So, now we know Joe Thornton is going to be out for about a month with a fractured rib. Austin, we don't know exactly. Hopefully he's back next game, so we'll have to stay tuned. But for now, that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you liked this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. Everyone's got their own journey.